I really thought we were ebbing toward a recession, but I don't see it. I mean, and I'm surprised by that, actually.
In today's video, Mark Yusko, the founder, CEO and CIO of Morgan Creek Capital Management, discussed about the Fed raising interest rates and impact on all markets including crypto, the crypto bear market, and if we've hit the bottom on Bitcoin.
Some of the words that he used were it's a global asset, and validates many perspectives that the Bitcoiners have held for years. It's a hedge in many cases, and he just spoke very positively about it. And I wanted to get your take on this because you've been long forecasting this as a possibility.
So he finally got permission from the Templar Knights, from the Freemasons. And so it's time now. And I'm actually not joking about that. I mean, they've been in charge for a long time. And he finally got permission. And I said, all those other people refiling, just a waste of time. He's going to get approved. They'll keep him the only one for a while to make sure it works and that he can get enough market share. But look, I actually went on the longest Twitter break since I started 10 years ago on Twitter, started in 2013. I've been off for 2 weeks. I've only done 1 or 2 retweets. I retweeted him talking because I couldn't help myself, but I haven't posted anything in 2 weeks and I kind of miss it. My wife says it's better that way, but I will come back. But look, when the largest asset manager in the world jumps in the pool, it's not like they're going to jump in and then the pool's going to drain. That's just not going to happen, right? So all of it's going to zero. I don't know what Nouriel is going to do because it ain't going to zero. So yeah. Nouriel's going to have to change his tune. And, Peter Schiff, well, son already owns it. So, Peter Schiff will just change his mind. But I think it was inevitable because this is a technological evolution. We've talked about this over and over for the year, over a year that we've been doing this. This is not, witchcraft voodoo. It's not some magic internet money. It's just an evolution of computing power. And it's a better way to do gold. I mean, gold is great. Gold has been money for 5,000 years, but it's not very portable and it's not very divisible. And I can't break a bar in half and stuff it in my computer and send it to you, but I can hit a button and send you Bitcoin like that. So it wouldn't surprise me that they did give it to a couple others. Although I'm still leaning toward kind of what they did with GLD, right? There's no real alternative to GLD. Now, the other ones that have gold ETFs say, no, we have one. No, you don't. There's GLD and everybody else. And so, maybe at some point they'll approve other ones. But the fact that so many of us have been saying, they're just going to approve BlackRock, maybe they will do as you say. Oh, no, that's not, we'll do Van Eck too. I mean, they're a reputable, group and we like them. But any of the newbies, look, I'm invested in a whole bunch of them. I mean, I would love for Bitwise. I'm an owner of Bitwise, a partial, small. I would love for them to get approved. I would love. I mean, Hunter is amazing. Hunter is a great guy and great leader, and Matt's a good guy. And so I would love for them to get approved. I would love for Arca to get approved. I'd love for the twins to get approved. They could use it. Their business is struggling right now. So, but I'm going to stick with. It's BlackRock right now, and they're going to test it out. In fact, I'm going to say they're going to give it. I don't know if they can actually do this, but like a contingent approval, I don't think they can do a trial period, but that wouldn't surprise me if they said, we'll approve this for a while, but I think it's all or none.
How much of Barry's empire does he have to sell off, or mortgage, or promise in a pact to the devil in order to make it out of this alive?
He better sell soon. Because unless he's closer to somebody in a high place, I like to say you got to have friends in low places, people that are willing to do dirty deeds done dirt cheap, to mix all my metaphors. But unless he has that friend, I don't think they're getting approved, and the value of GBTC goes down a lot once there's an ETF, because people take it out of GBTC, paying 2%, and go into the ETF. And I don't know what BlackRock registered for, but probably 100 basis points, maybe something like that. I didn't look at the filing.
The idea that if an ETF becomes approved by something like BlackRock or something like that, that they would approve the grayscale filing to transition to an ETF. Maybe there's a world where GBTC gets purchased by Fidelity or something like that, and they successfully make that transition.
Now that is a good analysis, and I think that's been offered, right? And
yeah, I've heard rumors about that too.
I'm sure the price is not what Barry wants, but I think if Fidelity were to do that deal, I think Fidelity would get approved. I don't think Barry's getting approved. I just don't. And that's nothing against Barry. I've actually not met Barry. I know his brother. I don't have any positive or negative view. That's not true. I have a positive view for what he's built. I admire all his hard work, and I don't admire what's kind of gone on in the last couple of months because I'm on the other side of it. But I'm I have nothing against him. So I wish he would get approved. He should have got approved first. That the conversion of GBTC to an ETF should have happened. It should have happened a long time ago. And all the nonsense about, the markets are manipulated. You mean more than the gold market? Like every year there are fines for manipulation of the gold market? You mean more than the futures market in equities, which is controlled by big firm, which I shall remain nameless? You mean more than the options market? Come on.
They're also the BlackRocks of the world, and everyone and their mother is listing them as the custodian of the
exchange.
Again,
because quality rules. At the end of the day, if you're going to come into this business, you want to operate with people who are good at what they do. And Brian and team are good at what they do. And the fact that they're too good, which is what pisses off the banks and exchanges, which is why all the heat is coming down against them. And again, this is a story as old as time, and we've talked about it over and over, is incumbents will get persecuted. And because the disruptors aren't loved by the incumbents.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Mark, if, let's just say, these spot Bitcoin ETF applications were approved, what does that do in terms of demand for spot for Bitcoin? Because that's something that I've been trying to get a sense of.
I think it's a big number. Big. Like big. Like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, big mistake. Huge. I mean, big. Yeah. I can't even put a number on it. I mean, it's in the, hundreds of billions, easy, hundreds of billions. It's a big number. And the biggest biggest positive is that there's so little free float, right? There's so much of Bitcoin that is lost, stolen, hodled, immovable. And so the amount that turns over every day is a relatively small percentage of the total. And now, I think that dynamic changes as the price rises. Right? When the price goes parabolic, as I believe it will in this next cycle, as it does in every cycle, as emotion and momentum and FOMO kick in around the halving. And there's all the discussion this past week, because I've been completely out of touch, but mostly out of touch. I did see one story about predictions that the big move comes after the halving. True, right?
True.
The period leading up to the halving is volatile with an upward glide, but it's not the parabolic. The parabolic is after the halving, where the price has to adjust because of the mining rewards. And there's some discussion, the mining rewards might not have to change as much because now there are fees because of ordinals and things. It's reasonable. I still think it's going to go parabolic. And when BlackRock gets approved, that's a big demand driver. And I think the parabolic move this time will be. Now, I'm not saying $1 million or But it's funny. I guess Tim Draper is getting grief this week about his 250K prediction. It's not going to happen before the end of the year. He's like, yeah, so I missed it. I mean, timing's hard. And so someone pulled up, and I guess mine is next year in 2020, like by the end of 2024. I could see that happening. I'm not guaranteeing anything, and I'm not. But my logic for that was kind of halfway to gold equivalence. That was 5 years out of what I thought would take 10 years. And so I still think that's definitely possible. And if you think about, we've talked about this, each halving is added to zero. So we went from 100 to 1,000, 1,000 to 10,000. This is the 100,000 halving. And you always get a surge above that. Previous surges have been roughly 2x, the fair value. And Tim, our buddy Tim Peterson, who I love, released a model right before I left, which seems like 100 years ago because it's just been glorious, that he said was 55K. So we're way below fair value. Remember when he was on 6 months ago, 7 months ago, whenever that was, basically activity had collapsed, and his model, which I love, it's really good, had gotten all the way down to like high 20s, low 30s for fair value. And so he said, we're kind of fair value-ish. And everybody's like, no, that's not right. And I go, just a model.
I remember listening to that. I remember listening to that thinking that sounded too low. And here we are. So,
I know.
Yeah.
But, math is a funny thing, right? I mean, math is good. I mean, again, to bring it back, everything has to come back to vacation. So I went by an aqueduct, right, in Spain, that's been standing with no mortar, no grout, no cement, just stone on stone, 200 feet high, double arched aqueduct, 2,000 years. 2,000 years. How? How is it possible? We can't even build houses that last 25 years. Math. That was math. Or this is crazy. I stood on the westernmost point of Europe, which is the Cape outside of Lisbon, and looked out, and you can see the horizon. You can see the Earth curve, right? I mean, it's unbelievable. Imagine being a guy stepping on a ship and saying, yeah, let's just sail that way. Let's see what happens. Math, right? They could buy the stars. Now, they weren't perfect, right? Christopher ended up in America instead of India. And, Vasco da Gama went to India and got super rich. I learned this is cool. A kilo of gold, right? Kilo of gold. 8 kilos of cinnamon. Equivalent. Wow. So if you had 8 kilos of cinnamon or cloves or pepper, I think it was actually 2 kilos of pepper. Pepper was very rare. You could become super rich. So that's how Portugal, this is amazing. So Portugal said to Spain, you guys go west. We're going to go east. Because they had heard that there were spices in India. And that's why Portugal, from 1460 to like 1520-ish, was the most powerful country in the world, richest country in the world, had the most powerful navy, had the, superpower, and since they had invented banking, they were compounding that wealth. Anyway, it was pretty cool.
Was that within your expectation set? Is that ultimately surprising to you? I mean, do you think the Fed is doing the right thing here, or are you just scratching your head and wondering, what are you guys doing hiking?
No, look, so again, I'll just go anecdotal. It's busy out there. I mean, both places we've been, both Spain and Portugal, it's busy. I mean, it is people, and the languages, there are people from everywhere. I mean, I'm shocked how many people from Australia over here in Spain and Portugal, but then I learned there's some history with Portugal and Australia. Lots of Germans, but I guess this is where, like Florida to Germany. So all the Germans come down here for the summer. But it's rocking. So the global economy is strong. I mean, it's strong. I mean, prices, it's not like crazy prices, but it's not cheap, and there's not a lot of stuff on sale. Like I grew up with Lacoste shirts, and little alligator, and so I wanted to buy one, and I went in the store, like, what? I mean, normally they have these things for 110 euros, and they were marked down 30%. I'm like, you know what? I came in here, I wanted one, fine, I'll buy it. That's like twice what I would normally pay for a shirt, because I don't like to spend a lot of money. But I don't think we're in anywhere close to recession. That I thought that, right? 6 months ago when we talked, I really thought we were ebbing toward a recession, but I don't see it. I mean, and I'm surprised by that, actually. I am surprised, and I would be surprised if they raised. That doesn't seem like it's in the cards, because inflation is definitely going back 2%. I think it'll be sub 2% by the end of the year, because the commodity component will be gone, and the lag effect of the owner's equivalent rent will start to ebb. So I don't see why you'd want to raise more than now, other than the reason that you always want to raise rates, which is to make the banks rich. So if Jamie says raise the rates, they'll raise the rates.